Yeah, in this video we're going to look at the second draft of my FPL. This is the first version which I made last week. I had 3 6.0 defenders and 2 4.0 defenders. Now what I did now, I downgraded a little bit of the defense, made the defense a little bit cheaper, and I changed the forward. I had one more expensive forward into my team. So let's look at my second draft now. This is now my second draft. You can see now I kept the 2 goalkeepers, Cels and Miguel, but in defense I made some changes. I think I had 3 6.0 defenders, and I think there was just a little bit too much. You don't need 3 6.0 defenders in your team. You need the money elsewhere. So what I did is I changed Van Dijk from Liverpool 6.0 to Gay from Crystal Palace. Liverpool is a very strong team, of course, but I rather have players from Liverpool from the offense, from the attack and midfield in my team than a defender. And Liverpool will completely change the defense. I think they will play with a new left back, Kerkers, a new right back, Frimpong, and maybe even a new centre back. But Gay might go to Liverpool. We don't know that yet, but Gay might go to Liverpool. They are working on the deal, so we don't know that yet. But maybe Gay stays at Crystal Palace. Even then, I think Gay is a very good pick, only 4.5 million euro, and he is a safe pick. He will start every match. Now Mykolenko from Everton, because I also thought the same about Cucurella from Chelsea, which I think is a very good pick. But I think that Mykolenko from Everton had a very strong defense. At least he gets some clean sheets. At least he's a regular starter. He will start every match. He's not going to have many goals or many assists, but he is 5.0. The other defenders from Everton, Tarkowski and Brentford, are 5.5. He's a bit cheaper. Cucurella is 6.0. And they signed a new left back defender from Ajax Amsterdam, Jorol Hato. And I think Cucurella will be rotated more this season than last season. Last season he didn't have any competition, but now with Jorol Hato from Ajax Amsterdam will have a little bit more competition, and he will be rotated more. And you know Mykolenko is going to start every match. So we can say the same about Gabriel. Gabriel didn't play yet in the friendly game, but he will be ready for the start of the season. Esteve will start for Burnley, and Gudmundsson normally will start for Leeds United. I can always replace Gudmundsson with Rodon or someone else. But the defense is also more balanced now. You have 6.0, very expensive, 2 cheap defenders, 4.0, and 4.5, 5.0. Now if you look at the midfield, I didn't change anything into the midfield. And if you look at the midfield, I have 5 midfielders, and all in different price classes, all in different price ranges. And I show you now how important that is. I think if you look at the midfielders, there is a price range. There are 4 different price ranges. Now what I did now, 9.0, 10.5. I bought the most expensive midfielder, Palmer, the 10.5. The big advantage is, if something happens to Palmer, he gets injured or a suspension, I can easily replace him with Saka or Fernandes because they are cheaper. That is the big advantage of having the most expensive in that range in your team. The same goes for Florian Wirtz. If something happens to Florian Wirtz, might get injured, suspension, I can easily replace him with Marmoush, Foden, Eze, Gakpo, Gordon, and so on and so on. There are more players, but I show the most. The same goes for Semenyo, 7.0. I can easily replace him because all the other midfielders in that price range are cheaper or have the same price. And the same goes for Anderson, 5.5. Because why would you make a transfer? There are 2 reasons why you would make a transfer. First, because your player doesn't start or is underperforming, or he is injured, got a suspension. That's why you want to make a transfer. Or another reason could be, and that's also very important to know, of course, that another player is overperforming, another player is performing better than your player in the same price range. For example, Saka performs much better than Palmer. And Saka is on a fly, is on a good run, Then, you want to have Palmer out and Saka in. It's not that Palmer performs poor, but maybe you want to make a transfer, Saka in and Palmer out. Maybe Anderson. Anderson doesn't perform good for Nottingham Forest, 5.5. And Caicedo is performing, maybe Caicedo is on penalties. Maybe you want to say, okay, I get Anderson out and I get Caicedo in. It's not that Anderson is maybe not good performing, but another player in the same price range is performing very well. So the huge advantage of having the most expensive player in that price range is that you can easily make a transfer in, transfer out. And that's, I think, a massive advantage. The other midfielder is Salah, but Salah is a player on its own, 14.5, and if you want to have Salah out of your team and replace him with another player, that's not so difficult because the other player will always be cheaper. But I don't see that happening. I want to keep Salah, of course. But I think the same can be said about the forwards. I think I made the same price range for simplicity for the forwards. Now, I said I made a transfer in the forward. I have Watkins in my team now instead of Evan Nilsson, because I wanted to have an expensive forward. The problem is, if you don't have any forward from the expensive ones in your team, it will be very difficult to make a transfer. For example, if you have Pedro and Evan Nilsson, and Watkins, Gyökeres or Isaac are on a good run or on a very good run, how on earth are you going to transfer them in? That's almost impossible. But now we have Watkins into my team now. And for example, Gyökeres is on a good run for Arsenal. He's also on penalties. I can easily transfer Watkins in and Watkins out and Gyökeres in. You have the same price. So having a more expensive forward in your team makes a transfer much, much easier. I can go Pedro out and then maybe Havertz, Wissa, Mateta in. However, if AKTK overperforms for Liverpool, 8.5, he's doing very well, you want him in your team, then you can't do the swap between Pedro and AKTK, but then you might say, okay, Watkins out and AKTK in. There's a bit of more room now. The only point is now, if you look at the prices, that Isaac is 10.5. I can't get Isaac into my team now. If you look at the team, then I have 500,000 on the bank, but I can't get Isaac in. It's 1.5 difference between Isaac. I have to take that chance. Isaac is going to leave Newcastle United. He wants to go to Liverpool, but the deal is far from done yet, and I'm not sure if the deal will be done before the start of the season. Still 14 days to go before Liverpool plays the first match. I don't see the deal will be done in 2 weeks. I think Liverpool wants to wait a little while, and I think the deal will be done probably the end of maybe the end of the month. I don't know, the 1st of September. But then you already played 3 matches. So that's why I want to wait with Alexander Isak, and maybe I don't get him in either way. I think Gyökeres is a better pick now than Isak, but Gyökeres is a new player from Arsenal, and I'm not sure if he will start every match. We have to be a little bit careful, because they still have Havertz, and they still have Gabriel Jesus. So be a little bit careful with Gyökeres. I'd rather have Watkins in. You know, Watkins is going to start every match, and he's very good for FPL. He's a safe pick, and Aston Villa has quite easy fixtures in the first 5-6 game weeks. And then, if Gyökeres is doing very well, you can always replace Watkins with Gyökeres. So if you go back to my team now, then you see I covered almost all price ranges, also in defense 6.0, 5.0, 4.5. If a defender of 5.5, I want him in my team, I can easily get him into my team, but I still have 500,000 on the bench. I'm not too worried about the goalkeepers, 5.0, 4.0, I think I will get away with that. There are enough good 5.0 goalkeepers or cheaper, so that's not a problem at all. And that's it, I think, for now. So that was the end of the video. We talked about the second draft of my fantasy football team.